Okay, 1, 2, 3, fish!
Not any more nervous now than I was yesterday, and was probably max nervous before I left to Florida because I knew that there were empty pieces still not done.
Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our featured speaker, Mr. Andrew Sandler.
Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I get this question a lot. What is PoloReef? PoloReef has become an organization to give back to the hobby, whether it be philanthropy, education, that I want to give back and create that spark in young kids. All these fish have gone through my quarantine system. This particular one is the only one of its kind. It's a test tube baby of some sort. Two angels were in a breeding facility that would never meet in the wild, and this one baby popped out. And they've been unable to duplicate it since. So it is the rarest fish in the world. It's the only one of its kind. In our opinion, the beginning of fish care must start right here in the quarantine. And whether you have 2,500 gallons of water with 5 systems like we do, or you have a 20-gallon tank set up for a quarantine, if you don't do this, you are asking for big, big problems. This is our UV sterilizer. It's got 10 bulbs, it's got 4,000 watts, and 300,000 microjoules, and that is enough to kill free-swimming parasites. This is a part of the lab, but this is the our inspection where we have special lights and microscopes and tools to remove what I'm about to show you, what we find. These things coming off right here, those little dots, those are all flatworms coming off of a Gonapora coral. What's really even worse than the flatworm, what you're about to see, are the eggs. Chemicals and medications do not kill the eggs, so the eggs must be removed manually. We get crabs on corals, and we actually have to know what crabs are good crabs and bad crabs. That's an interesting sport. But we treat our coral with iodine-based dips, potassium chloride, Bayer, weed killer Bayer, hydrogen peroxide, and then we use Cipro, Amoxi, erythromycin, amino acids to heal the coral back up. He has living proof that they don't live just on photosynthesis. Years ago, we used to light our tanks up very brightly, and we didn't feed our corals, and the corals didn't do well. Today, we understand that they need to be fed. The next part of coral care is what we call fragging. This is the way we make genetic babies. We can actually cut a piece of coral and make an identical piece of coral. Prune the reef just the way you guys prune your plants. And put a piece or two in a different tank just in case something happens to the one tank. We have a gene bank, essentially. What's causing this coral problem and with reefs? And it's all this stuff here, and you read about, from warming waters to pollution to the fishing. There have been a lot of storms lately. It's probably not one of these things, it's several of these things. The point is, the hobby hates this too. The hobby needs the reefs healthy, and I think we need each other. And we now can do this. We can now collect sperm and egg from corals, freeze them, hold them, bank them. We're actually working on making super corals that are adaptable to the lower pHs or bacterial infections. The problem with this is it takes 2 years probably before you get a coral baby dot to a piece this big. And then you probably need another year or two in a nursery. So it's very hard to scale. The first thing I want to tell you about is the Florida reefs are really in trouble. Way bigger trouble than all that stuff you saw at the Great Barrier Reef. So apparently there's only 2% of the reef left in Florida. People are getting involved. And this particular institute, the Reef Institute here down in West Palm Beach, we were down visiting on Friday. They educate young kids. They grow the coral, and then they literally replant it. These guys are the real heroes right here that's saving the planet. A lot of these nurseries and spawning stations, a lot of the scientists are really good on the field in the ocean, but they have no idea how to grow coral in a box. No, zero. And so we bring in aquarists that know something about that, and we have new partnership. And that is the most exciting thing that I think is happening. We now think that we're getting close to 50% of all coral in the trade. It has never seen the ocean. It's been aquacultured and grown. There's knowledge and equipment transfer from the hobbyist to the scientist. We're teaching them how to grow corals in a box. We went to the Reef Institute. We saw all hobby-grade equipment, the same lights we use, the same skimmers we use. This was a hobby-led partnership. And my message is get involved, donate or volunteer, and pick an initiative you like. There's a lot of organizations out there, and we're helping a few of them, and we're going to get more involved in these things. So what is PoloReef doing about conservation? One, I want to do educational videos. We're trying to inspire the youth through philanthropy, scholarships. We're donating to marine science programs in a few different states and a few different schools. The majority of all the corals that we got from PoloReef were internally sourced from the hobby, from other fish tanks. We did not take from the wild. We also have apparel you can buy, and 100% of all profits we'll generate with this will go back into conservation efforts and marine science. And that basically concludes it. The summary is not important. Thank you very much.
We do have time for questions.
What is the process when there's fish born to the tank?
We see natural spawning every night. So we get to see things that other people don't. I mean, we come in every morning, the crosshatches are spawning. If I was able to get those babies, that's like a $5,000, $10,000 baby. The problem is I can't get the scoop on time. The eggs get scattered, the other fish eat them. They go down to the drains fast, UV sterilizer, skimmers. So in order to do that, we would probably have to put egg collectors somewhere in the tank. At the moment, nothing has been born in that tank.
But Andrew, with all the contaminations that you deal with and keeping your fish healthy, how do you deal with your food supply, that you're not introducing contaminated food, seaweed, etc.? And have you had a problem with that ever?
I tried one new food recently, and I got I thought a parasite infestation after that, so I don't try that food anymore. But at the end of the day, things are fresh seafoods and they're deep freezed. Not on my concern list, really.
You mentioned nutrients, chemicals, etc. How important is oxygen to coral?
It's big, but it doesn't take to run a tank at full oxygen. It's not a thing that we worry about once we have that water movement going.
Yes, hi Andrew. Thank you for the presentation. I had a question regarding more about the planning and stuff like that. You said it took 6 years to build this tank, and I'm sure there's a lot of engineering. I was wondering who you kind of consulted to create this envision you had, because most hobbyists don't have anything to this scale, obviously. So I don't know if you consulted with zoos or aquariums, or how did you get your knowledge to build this?
Yeah. soil sample tests, engineer flow tests, people that know pipes and how much they can flow through the pipes. And you can't imagine how many people were contacted through this project.
All right, if you had a question and you didn't get it answered, I'm very sure that Andrew and his team will be hanging around and be more than happy to have a chat with you and answer your questions. Please join us in the back. There's plenty of food, there's drinks, and please join me once more in thanking Andrew for his presentation.
You all appreciate it.
The talk was absolutely wonderful. About how Andrew's work is actually offering hope for coral reef restoration and conservation is just really exciting and uplifting.
I love what Andrew's doing. He's using this as a catalyst to educate.
I'm always interested in hearing about how the hobby and the science aspect of it can work together. The hobby's generally viewed as take, and Andrew's kind of turning that on its head because he's giving back, so that's pretty cool.